Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Brian Jones, and this is called Joy in Real Time. Glad you're here today. Uh, so, I'm a trainer in heartfulness. If you're not familiar with heartfulness, it's it's many things actually. It's one of the many things that it is. It's a method of meditation and a way to sort of purify our inner system and regulate the mind and become more centered and definitely more peaceful. So these are tools that we use to help us do that, and they're very effective. And I've been doing this practice for next year. It's going to be 50 years, so that's a long time. And I spend a lot of my time, probably by far most of my time, sharing this with others, which I love to do. So so that's what I'm doing here. And so just a little bit more about heartfulness. Heartfulness is, it's not just a method of meditation or practice. There's so many things connected to it. It's really a way of life. It's a way of living. Um, for example, at our main headquarters, our ashram in Kanha, it's called Kanha Shantivanam. It's outside of Hyderabad in India. When you visit there, you're just amazed at the scope of all of the things that are under this umbrella of heartfulness. I mean, they've planted something like 100,000 trees, and there's not building, but growing rainforests, and there's a wellness center, and there's all kinds of courses, even things in business and for business and for just a lot of different things. So heartfulness is a way of life, and I hope it's something that more and more people get to hear about. So let me check in with everybody here today. If you're just tuning in, if you'd like to put your name and where you're from in the chat, let me know that you're there. I would appreciate that. That really helps me a lot. So today, the topic is willpower, period, determination. And so why did I pick this topic today is sort of about the topic. And that's that we had a time change here on Saturday night. So in the spring, our time springs ahead 1 hour, which means we actually lose an hour. Okay. So in other words, for me, I do this session at 10 o'clock normally. Well, since we've pushed ahead an hour, now I just realized this morning, I have to do this an hour earlier today so that everybody is tuning in at the same time in India, because I think that's mostly where people are tuning in from. So then I wasn't sure, I forgot about that. And then I was trying to get ready and everything. I'm thinking, well, what is the topic for today? Because I've been so busy with so many different heartfulness projects that I didn't get a chance to post the YouTube link or everything ahead of time, which I normally want to do. So then it occurred to me, no, I should talk about willpower and determination. And the reason is that so when I realized that I was an hour behind, and I realized I only had about 45 minutes to get myself ready and prepared to do this show today, my first thought was, maybe I should just skip today and just put up a notice and not worry about it. But right after that, my second thought was, wait a minute, why think like that? Something always comes to talk about. And, so be confident in that. And so immediately after that, I felt a sense of determination. And along with that determination, and I had to apply my will a little bit, to get myself going quicker and come up here. And, I opened a book and immediately I knew what the topic is going to be. It all came to me. So Anyway, so this is for me was my lesson this morning was about will and determination because you know when we sometimes when we think that we're applying our best efforts and things don't work out, what do we say to people if they ask us? What do we say? We say, "Oh, I tried. I tried." But if you stop to think about it, if you ever catch yourself saying, "Oh, I tried," you know, it's kind of a way to make ourselves feel better because this word or phrase, "I tried," it implies doubt. It's like, "Well, I tried. I thought, yeah, I did my best." You didn't do your best. You just tried. So Babaji says we have to, uh, make an effort to, if we want to succeed in something, we have to make the attempt. So it's not about trying, it's about attempting. And when we think of attempting something, there's no giving up in that. When we say, "I tried," it leaves room for us to give up. But when we're saying, "I'm attempting to do this," there's no room for "I tried." It's always moving forward and until you're successful. That's so anyway, that was my morning. And then I come up here and I reach for a book and I just open the book and I know that the right thing is going to come. And sure enough, the very first thing I opened to was exactly what I'm going to read today and talk about today, which is in relationship to this idea of will and determination. All right, but before I do that, Kit, hey, Kit. Kit is a dear friend of mine, and she's in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm glad to know that you're out there tuning in, Kit. That's very nice. And we also have Aminder from Ajmer, Rajasthan, India. Oh, you were a heartfulness trainer since 2017. Fantastic. Okay, great. Do good work. Remember, don't try, attempt. And Subad, I hope I'm saying your name right. Parhak, okay. Welcome. Glad you're here. And Ruchi, welcome. Okay, I know more people tune in as we get into things. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to read. This is a book that I keep. Well, this is the current book that I've been keeping next to my bed for over a year. And it's the Complete Works of Ramchandra, Volume 5. And I keep it on my bedstand. And at night, I open the book randomly to whatever page, and I will read a paragraph. Sometimes just a couple sentences. And that's it. And for the longest time now, that's how I read. I don't have a really great retention, so I can't read a book from cover to cover and then repeat back to you anything that I read in that book. It's just, I have no idea. And Babaji's words and his writings are so deep and so beautiful and so powerful that really I much prefer just reading a little bit and then just being inspired by that and just sitting with that for a day and absorbing it. All right, so I'm going to read this. But we have Heartfulness Jamaica. Wow, Jamaica. Nice to know that someone in Jamaica is tuning in. And Maya and Paul from Bali, Indonesia. Hi, Maya and Paul. And Ruchi, I think I saw your name. So great, wonderful. Feel like it's the whole family's here. All right, now I'm going to read the chapter 1 from Babaji's book. And this is a response that Babaji has written to a letter that he received from someone who was obviously very devoted. And as I go through this, I'll make some comments about, at first, it doesn't seem like it's related to will or determination at all. Um, but I think this is really beautiful and enlightening for us and encouraging for us. So here we go. The Sahaj Marg system is a way of life and not a religion. It teaches us how to use the faculties in the proper way. My idea is that the proper use of faculties is saintliness. That you can only have when the mind is pure and well balanced. Now, here's a beautiful line. I do not want to interfere with your independence, but it is to be regulated. Regulation of the mind is the duty of the teacher, and for this very purpose, the student comes to him. Of course, self-effort is the best and is needed in the Abhyasi. But if somehow we get the help of anybody who can put the mind in proper order, wisdom warrants us to have such a person for our benefit. Wow. This paragraph is beautiful. I mean, when we think about this, the idea, traditionally, this idea of the guru student, relationship, we often get the idea that, you're having to sort of bow down, to the guru and worship them and be committed and be all of these things. And Babaji just completely blows that out of the water. Okay. In his very first sentence, so wonderfully, he says, I do not want to interfere with your independence. It's just that it's to be regulated. And then he says that this regulation of the mind is the duty of the teacher. So he takes responsibility onto himself. It's his duty to regulate the student's mind. And that's the reason why the student would be coming to the teacher. Wow. Then he says, of course, self-effort is best and is needed in the Abhyasi. Okay, so yes, of course, we'll have to apply some efforts, and that has to do with this idea of determination. I'll get more into that a little bit. But then once again, he says, but if somehow we get the help of anybody who can put the mind in proper order, wisdom warrants that we should have such a person for our benefit. I mean, how humble and how sweet Babaji is. He's not saying, follow me and do it. No, he's saying, it's my job to help you, and, just pay a little bit of attention and do, what's asked in simple ways. And, we're going to work together on this. And this is what I always get from Babaji. This is a partnership. Okay. This is beyond guru teacher ideas from the past. Okay. Our relationship in this method of heartfulness with the guide, it's a partnership. Okay. It's a working together. This is so important to know this. Okay. Now let me continue. Now I am coming to your questions. It is such an excellent letter. So he's talking about the letter that he's answering here, okay, that he received from this person. He says, it is such an excellent letter that I enjoyed it as I read. Now, about religion, I want to disclose myself freely to you because here I find a man cooperating with my ideas. The basis of all the religions of the world is temptation and fear. Temptation for paradise and fear of hell. Now, In spirituality, these things are out of place. I have written somewhere that when religion ends, spirituality begins. While writing, I want to embrace you when I think of such a beautiful letter. Wow. Can you imagine that? So he goes on to say, preceptors are the arteries of the mission connected with the heart. Really speaking, prayer is begging and meditation is having something. Meditation is necessary for building the mind, intellect, and wisdom in the proper order. Meditation is necessary for building the mind, intellect, and wisdom in the proper order. When we follow anything, we try to make all the factors favorable to us. If one does the meditation sincerely, he will begin to follow the 10 maxims unknowingly. Unknowingly. All right. So, once again, I mean, this is just so sweet. It's just like a big tablespoon of honey to me. He's explaining that, that meditation is having something and meditation is necessary. But then he says, when we follow anything, he puts it so nicely. We try to make all the factors favorable to us. So he never says, you need to do the practice. If you don't do the practice, you're going to go to hell. Or if you do the meditation, you're going to reach paradise. He's transcending here religion in real time and giving the real insight as to that we should never feel guilty about our spiritual practice or our spiritual journey. He's just saying that when we make all the factors favorable to ourselves, we're going to receive the benefit. And so he's just saying that if we want to make the things favorable to ourselves, then we want to do the meditation because we benefit from it. And we have the guide's help, and we're working as a partnership. Working as a partnership. This is the way of the heart. This is the way of this heartfulness method. So let me continue. Oh, and the fact that he says we start to follow the 10 maxims unknowingly. Look, I mean, can you believe how amazing this is? So, in other practices, people would say, oh, you need to, study those, the 10 commandments or these 10 maxims, you need to follow those. And, if this happened to you because you weren't following those 10 maxims and you didn't study those 10 maxims. Babaji says nothing of the sort. That is old school thinking. That's old religious thinking. We can throw that out because all that does is make us feel guilty. And as we know from Daji, guilt is the hardest thing to clean. So why would we want to take up an approach like that to make ourselves feel guilty about our own practice? It's so out of place and out of step with heartfulness. So we need to keep this in mind. He says, if we do the meditation sincerely, all we have to do is do it sincerely. We'll begin to follow the 10 maxims unknowingly. And so this points to that partnership with the guide and our inner self, is that all we do is, the guide has graciously said, here's a simple practice. It's so simple, and I'm going to help you. In fact, I'm going to be totally responsible for regulating your mind. And all you have to do is just do this simple practice, and everything's going to come to you from inside yourself. This is heartfulness. This is heartfulness. Okay. Let me continue. So many people come to see me, but none sees me. They are equal to those who have not come to me. You please tell me what should be my reaction in that case? Okay, so here he's saying that people come to me, and he's so humble, and he's so unobtrusive, and he's so uh, gentle, that people can't recognize his greatness, because people come to Babaji and they're expecting to have some sort of teacher who's talking at you, in, you know, trying to infuse you with some verbal learning that you're supposed to take in. Babaji is no such master at all, and this is why he's so unobtrusive that people come to see him and they can't see his greatness, because he doesn't make demands of anybody. Okay. And then he goes on to say, what can he do in that case if people don't see him? He's not going to, be something other than who he is. He's going to be who he is. And that's a big lesson for us, is that the only person that we can be is who we are. And all we're doing is purifying our system so that we can be the fullness, express the fullness of who we are. That's it. I'll go on. I'll continue. Past lives and astrology are but the offshoots of knowledge. Reality is far beyond. These things produce a ripple in the calm water, so you are right to divorce them. Okay, so here again, he just makes a statement that past lives and astrology are the offshoots of knowledge, but reality is far beyond. So then he says, these things produce a ripple in the calm water, so you are right to divorce them. So he never says, you need to leave these things because they're causing ripples in your mind. He says, yes, you are right. He puts it on this person. You are right to divorce them. It's so amazing. This is how amazing Babaji is. Then he says, I have not read much except the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and a few other books, just to pass the time. Books do not help us in realization. When realization is achieved, books are useless. Wow. Okay. So what does all this have to do with willpower and determination? Well, from my perspective, and I think what I've learned over the years, is that, we should want to make efforts. I don't even like the word should. We make efforts because the result is so wonderful. When we do this practice and we go in deep into meditation, the result is so beautiful. We feel such a transformation. At the end of the meditation, we feel there's no more questions in us. We feel complete and whole. So, the reason we do our practice is the way it makes us feel. Right? Now, isn't that the best reason to do something? So, if we think about this from the idea of will or determination, it sort of changes the mood of those words. Okay. So I prefer the word determination over this idea of willpower. Willpower always implies, having to apply a force. And as we can see from what Babaji says, things come to us automatically. So do we need to apply a force? No, we don't. So I prefer the word determination. Now, here's the beauty of this word. If we know what's good for us, okay, and we know that something makes us feel so wonderful, then it makes sense that we sort of have a sense of determination to do our practice, to do what our guide is suggesting that we do for our own benefit. So anytime we feel like I felt like this morning when I got up late or the time was an hour earlier and I was rushing and my first thought was, well, maybe I should skip today. And then my second thought was, wait a minute, no, everything's going to come to me. It always comes to me. So just get dressed and go do this show. So that was a determination. So, we should, whenever we feel like, should skip something or, it's okay. It is okay. And there's some days when we get up late and we don't have time to meditate before work or everything. We should never feel guilty about that. Never. Just make the determined thought. I've already completed my meditation. I've already have that connection. The connection is with me. That presence is with me. Okay. And it will be with you. Now, that's not an excuse for not doing our meditation. We want to do our meditation because it feels right. But times when we can't, it's okay. We shouldn't feel guilty about anything on this path, as Babaji clearly alludes to in this beautiful writing. All right. So I feel thankful to have been found by the spiritual guides. I can't say I found them. That would be too bold of a statement. I mean, they clearly found me and they found you. And I'll tell you something encouraging and something that we old timers know about, that some things that Babaji said that aren't in the books, So, but Babaji had said that he starts working on us 20 years before we show up. Think about that. He starts working on us 20 years before we show up. This is one of the things he had said. So if you think about, why are we here? It's not because of our plans. It's not because of fate. It's because that, for whatever great good fortune, we've been probably a part of this lineage of spiritual guides for many lifetimes. And, Babaji is sort of the bringer together of everyone. It's like that kind of a spiritual harvest in some way. So we should all remind ourselves of this and be very thankful and very happy in the idea that, Babaji's already been working on us, and that's really why we're here. He knows about us. And the other thing he said, just to give you the scope of, what a real spiritual guide is, a real spiritual master is, that Babaji had also said that no preceptor can ever give a sitting without him knowing. Can you imagine? So, all right. So we're going to get to the meditation, but I just noticed that Kit has asked me to say again what this book is and what this page and chapter is. And Vidya says, feeling blessed, being chosen by him. Yes. Yes, Vidya. Enjoy that feeling. So the book that I'm read from today, oops, that was my alarm telling me that in 30 minutes I'm supposed to do this show. It's kind of funny. So the book that I read from today is Complete Works of Ramchandra, who is Babaji, okay, volume 5. And this is another wellspring of knowledge from Babaji and love, I would say. This is like a book of love. So I just, and don't, get this book and don't, don't do this cover to cover thing. Think that every time you open it, you're receiving a gift. There's some jewel here awaiting you to read. So Babaji's going to gift you something. That's the way to read this book. So a kit in answer to your question. So what I read was it's page 3, and it's the very first chapter, and the chapter is called A Way of Life, and it's only 2 pages. Some of these chapters are only 1 page or 2 pages long. It's called A Way of Life, and so you can all attend that. The past several weeks, let me back up. I do many sessions a week. This is the one I do on YouTube, but I do many sessions a week for mostly for the audience that I have on Quora, where I'm a writer. I have a lot of people there, and we have 4 sessions a week that we do, and people attend all 4 sessions a week. It's really beautiful, from around the world. I think I counted them up. There's probably total about 60 countries or something like this. Is really amazing. And for the past month now, I've been taking up all the topics I've been taking up have to do with not being guilty, and knowing that, it's all about this whole path is about our reaching a point of real freedom. And as Babaji says, freedom from freedom, a place where we should never feel guilty. We should feel so wonderful that we have such a guide that is taking the responsibility of our progress, on himself, and is always there to help us. And we should encourage each other, and we should never do that in a way where we're finger pointing, and we should never use the teachings, please, of the masters to correct somebody. This should never be done. We should never say, oh, but Daji says, oh, but Babaji says. And, no, this is not polite. This is not correct. We don't need to correct anybody. The masters aren't correcting us. They're taking responsibility for us and inviting us. They're inviting us to take up the meditation and the cleaning, because it's something that's wonderful for us. Wonderful. That's the spirit of heartfulness. Okay. Hi, Swati, Aminder, Deepak, Vidya, everybody, Mohit, Murugasan, Anil, Gita. I'm glad you're all here today. And now it's time for us to sit and meditate together, and we can take up a spirit of gratitude and thankfulness in this meditation. I think that would be appropriate. So let's get started. So let's close our eyes very gently. Let's take a slow, deep breath in. And let it go. Feel your shoulders are relaxing, just dropping down. And now feel the weight of your arms and your hands in your lap. Let your arms relax, and your hands, your fingers. Very gently bring your attention to the area of the heart and just rest there, like we rest our head on the pillow at night. Feel a lightness and a feeling of gratitude. And now let's just rest on the source of this lightness that's already there, present in our heart. And know that this source is inviting you inward. Let's stay with that thought. And that's all. Let's observe how we're feeling now. And allow that presence to expand in your conscious mind. Okay. All right, everyone. So I hope you will have a chance to pick up that Complete Works Volume 5 and enjoy the hidden gems in there. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. And let's see who else has joined in. Aminder, Isilda, Kalapa, SM. So nice of you to all take the time to come together today. And with that, everybody, I would say, as I always do say, this coming week and always, just stay with the heart. We'll see you next week.